welcome to InfoHub. In our headlines, the president describes opposition's parliamentary behavior as vulgar, a special needs training facility commissioned in CPC compound, and new bridges coming for several hinterland communities. Stay tuned for the details of these and more. Now for the details. The head of state describes opposition's parliamentary behavior as vulgar and completely uncalled for. Here's Tiffany Rodius.
President David Granger this morning described opposition member of parliament Juan Edgill's conduct as a display of absolute vulgarity, one which has no place in Guyana's highest house.
There's no place for that in the National Assembly. It's a very poor display on the part of Mr. Edgill and his colleagues. To demonstrate to the public and to our children that the Honourable House should be the scene of such a disorderly show. I can't imagine that the Chancellor of Judiciary would have to put up with that in the High Court, in the Appeal Court. She's the head. I can't imagine that the Speaker should be faced with that type of vulgarity.
When questioned as to whether he would meet with the opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo, the president replied in the affirmative. The head of state, however, noted that the opposition's behavior on November 2, when he addressed the National Assembly, was completely uncalled for and believes that Jagdeo must deal with such matters in his party.
I think that the treatment meted out to me on the 2nd of November was completely uncalled for. I think the treatment meted out to the Speaker this week is completely uncalled for. And I think the leader of the opposition needs to deal with these cultural issues within this party.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to have a response to this.
I remember, Mr. Edgill, you're out of order.
I don't mind being out of order, sir.
Then
on a matter of principle, sir.
Then I must order you.
On a matter of principle, I stand up to be out of order, sir.
Then I must order you to leave.
Following Monday's incident, MP Edgill has been suspended from the next 4 sittings of the National Assembly. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rodius.
Local businesses need to change their attitudes urgently if they want to get in on the oil and gas sector, says Finance Minister Winston Jordan. Paul McAdam has more.
Local entrepreneurs need to readjust their thinking and way of doing business. So said Finance Minister Winston Jordan as he reiterated this advice during his 2018 budget debate presentation.
I went to various places, whether it's the GMSA or the embassy in Washington, and I said, do not wait on local content legislation. Go out there and scout for people who you can form partnerships with. But there seems to be an aversion in this country, especially by a certain class of people, to partnerships, to public companies.
The complaints about foreign-based companies establishing local operations have already started, the minister pointed out.
Do you want to go with them? We don't have the technology, we don't have the finances, we don't have the human capacity. So how are we going to compete side by side with these people who have all these years of experience, knowledge, and everything? We have to creep before we walk. So creep by forming partnerships with these people who know. These people who know, so that you could get a toe into the business, learn the business, accept the technology transfer, gain some financing before you can get out on your own.
He emphasized that it is time to stop all the talking and take action.
This is a different government. This is a different government. You have to work hard to get what you want. The procurement system is as open as anybody wants to see it. And it's far more open. It's far more rigorous.
The government is preparing to introduce local content legislation as it moves forward with the oil and gas sector. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
The identification of a building to facilitate its operations is top of the agenda of the Local Government Commission as it sets to begin its work plan. More on this, Tanika Thorne report.
The Local Government Commission, through the Ministry of Communities, is mandated to oversee, monitor, investigate and examine the actions of the neighborhood democratic councils and the municipalities. Briefing the National Assembly on the Commission's 2018 work plan, Minister of Communities Ronald Bolkan explained that the body is in the process of identifying a building to house its operation.
Given the fact that it took a while for the Commission to be operationalized, and for that commencement order, the locations that were earlier identified were no longer available.
Minister Bolkan added that the Commission is governed by an act which specifies its operational details.
I don't think there's any possibility that they could be denied whatever authority is provided for them under the legislation. This is, sir, if I may, not an administration that disrespects the provisions in our Constitution. And
the Commission has the authority to initiate and conduct investigations into the activities of any local government organ. The 8 members of the constitutionally mandated body corporate were recently sworn in by President David Granger. The sum of $20 million is also provided in the budget for the body's 2018 operation. The monies will be used for the purchase of vehicles, furniture and equipment. Seneca Thorne for InfoHub.
President David Granger says ExxonMobil's signing bonus was kept under wraps as a matter of national security. Zanil Williams has the details.
It's not a question of secrecy, you know. Evidence of non-disclosure does not mean that there's evidence of any intention of deception. You know, there's no intention to deceive, but there was no need to make it public. It's a governmental decision. I make governmental decisions all the time, but it's not deceptive. The transaction was conducted in that manner because there were some national security implications.
Earlier this month, it was disclosed by ExxonMobil Guyana country manager Rod Henson that the approximately $18 million signing bonus was deposited into the Bank of Guyana last year. In the oil industry, signature bonuses are given to countries after the completion of a production sharing contract with an oil company, meaning negotiations. The head of state said the monies were not placed into the consolidated fund, mainly because at that time it was the advisable thing to do.
It is a legitimate exercise, as I said. It is to be used for certain matters which we perceive to be of national security interest, and at that point in time it was the thing to do so that we could have access in the event of a national security emergency.
The head of state further noted that not all ministers may have seen the contract. The government plans to disclose the contract signed with ExxonMobil before the end of this year. Zanil Williams reporting for InfoHub.
The government will introduce a pilot legal aid program aimed at reducing the overcrowding in prisons. Paul joins us again.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams, SC, said the legal aid project is aimed at reducing pre-trial detention.
That program will develop quality standards for legal aid and provide capacity building for the attorneys and paralegals recruited as well as other service providers in the sector.
The capacity building will also include personnel at the Director of Public Prosecution's chambers and the magistracy.
The contemplation is that people should not be going before the courts for non-violent and minor offenses unassisted by counsel. And that's why they're developing capacity in this project to really zero in on this whole question of pre-trial detention, because the detainees obviously are overcrowding the prisons.
A study will also be conducted to assess the existing non-governmental organizations offering legal aid functions, Minister Williams added. The pilot will be conducted initially in Georgetown due to its higher population density. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Renetta Lafleur now tells us that the construction of new bridges is underway for Maruka and Peruni.
The controversial Maruka Bridge, renowned for failing following its construction in 2014, will be rebuilt in 2018. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson disclosed this in the National Assembly yesterday. The ministry will be building a new bridge over the Puruni River as well.
We have 2 new bridges catered for in 2018, sir, which are the Maruka Bridge, as well as Bridge of Puruni Region 7.
Minister Patterson explained that his ministry had a packed bridges program during 2017 where several bridges along the coast and hinterland were upgraded. He added that in 2018 the program continues.
Program for 2018 with aesthetic repairs of bridges in 11 lots, sir. Lot 1 is Georgetown, Battery Road, Water Street. Then, sir, the East Coast Public Road, East Bankport Road. West Bank, the bridges on the West Bank Public Road, the West Coast Berbice Public Road. East Berbice Quarantine Road, Essequibo Coast Road, Stulsdyke Linden, Linden Letem, Madia Mabura, and the Bartica Plataro. Sir, we are repairing again Cemetery Road Bridge. We are doing some further repairs to some aquaplaning bridges, and then we have repairs to community bridges, in particular in regions 2, 3, 4, and 5.
In the 2018 national budget, a total of $840 million was allocated for bridges. Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
A special needs facility aimed at training specialized persons in the delivery of services to persons with disabilities was commissioned on Tuesday in the compound of the Cyril Potter College of Education. Details from Zanil Williams.
The Public Health Ministry's Permanent Secretary, Colette Adams, explained the West Demerara Regional Hospital was initially identified as the location to house the center. After careful consideration and re-examination of the project, she said it was agreed that the facility's focus needed to be more educational than health-based.
The purpose of this whole scenario here is to contribute to the evaluation of the effectiveness of educational service to children, adolescents, and young and youth with disability through the theory and practical preparation of different scenario agents in the region.
The Regional Health Center for Stimulating the Development of Children and Young People with Special Educational Needs Associated with Disabilities is a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Public Health, CARICOM, and the Cuban government. According to the Cuban ambassador to Guyana, Julio Merchante, his country will provide technical assistance.
This is a center that contributes in a very special manner to prepare all these persons that will be dealing with the person with disability. This will be, and we are talking, remember today, 2017, this will be a center of excellence in which Guyana will be able to show the world, particularly to the Caribbean community, because the regional character of this project, that we can prepare persons that will be able to make happy.
The facility also aims to provide training to stakeholders that are involved in providing education and attention to those with disabilities. The training center will open its doors officially on January 8th. Zanil Williams reporting for InfoHub.
Staff of the Child Care Protection Agency were honored for their hard work and dedication at their agency's annual conference at Park Rain. Here's our final report from Seneca Thorne.
Speaking at the event today, Minister Keith Scott commended the staff for the work they have been doing to protect the nation's children.
Generally, you have done a wonderful job, and my hope is that for the new year, you will be able to be more resolved and that you'll understand the full meaning of the word vocation, in that your job really is a calling.
Permanent Secretary Laureen Bade noted that as they celebrate, the opportunity should be used to critically review their actions over the past year.
What are some of the considerations in moving forward? Were we successful in achieving our goals and targets? Did we use the best possible approaches and practices in the discharge of our roles and responsibility? Are we getting value for money? What were the bottlenecks encountered and lessons learned?
The conference was held under the theme Diligent Commitment Aggressive Case Management to Improve Service Delivery. The event is an annual year-end activity that provides an opportunity for the agency to reflect on its achievements and challenges for 2017 and set the tone for the new year. Sneaker Thorne for InfoHub.
Thanks for watching. Connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.